Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lena and I make college and book related content here on YouTube. And today I will be sharing with you how to choose a college. I've divided this video into two different sections. The first section being for those of you who have a really long list of college acceptances and just want to get some and cross them off and move on. And then the second section will be a little more in depth, and for those of you who have maybe 2 or 3 colleges that you're trying to choose from and it's a little more of a complicated and difficult decision. Before we get into the video, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. You can also follow me at LenaDiane_reads. And if you haven't already, give this video a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to say is congratulations, you've been accepted to at least one college, and that is a huge achievement and you should definitely be proud of yourself. Choosing a college can be a very difficult and daunting decision, so hopefully this video will help. This first section will be called Category Prioritization, and it basically will be based upon looking at different categories that you can divide the schools into and figuring out which of those categories are your priorities and which ones are not so much, and based upon that you'll be able to cross some colleges off and narrow down your list. If you haven't already, you want to break down each of these colleges into the type of school they are. This means the size of the school, the student population, where this college is located, what the athletics are like, what kind of division this school is, what the academics are like, if it's a public or private school, what the party scene is like, what the student organizations are like. There are so many different categories to break this down into. You can go on websites like Niche or US News and look at the way that they break down the colleges and see information based on that. So after looking at all of these categories, you want to look at which ones you care about the most. So this might mean having a big school with D1 athletics, or it might mean a small liberal arts college that's really focused on academics. Maybe you want a party scene, maybe you don't want a party scene. So just look at all of those. Again, just decide what you kind of like and go from there. However, if all of your colleges are the same, if most of them are small liberal arts colleges or big state universities, this might be harder to differentiate from. And so my next tip for this first part is to look at the strong majors and programs. If you know specifically what you want to major in before you get there, that is so great. If you know you want to be a biology major or an English major or anything like that, then you should definitely check out the specific program at the schools that you've been accepted to. Make sure you've been accepted to that program if you go to a larger university or need to be accepted into a specific program like nursing, because I know in some colleges if you don't get into the nursing program, you might never get into the nursing program and then you can't be a nurse, and so choosing that school would not be the best idea for you. And then based on that, you can look at the professors who teach there, what kind of work is being done and research is being done in that field. You can look at whether it's a strong program for the school. Again, you can see this on websites like Niche or read it in the Fisk Guidebook to Colleges. You can also see if it's a popular program, how many people are involved. You can call up admissions and ask to speak with students, or you can directly contact professors to get a better idea about what these programs are like. If you are undecided going into college, that's perfectly fine as well. Hopefully you have an idea of maybe what you think you could try. So maybe you think that you might be interested in psychology, or maybe you're interested in statistics. So if you have a little list of different programs you're interested in, just make sure that all of those programs are at the schools that you want to go to. So if you think you could be interested in psychology or education, then make sure schools that have accepted you have both of those programs, because that is very important, because you don't want to go to a school and then realize that they don't have your program or anything like it. Especially if you have a more specific major or program that like neuroscience, which is not offered at all schools, or something like that, then make sure it's there. The third tip that I have in this first part is the outlook after college. So this may seem far away to some of you, it may seem really close to some of you depending on what kind of a person you are. So this breaks down into a couple different things. Definitely look at the graduation rate for your school. Most colleges break it down into a 6-year graduation rate. You want that graduation rate to be high, because even if you think, oh, I'll be able to graduate, if only 30% of people are graduating every 6 years, which is longer than the average undergraduate program, then maybe this is not the school for you, because maybe you want to be surrounded by your peers who are also graduating in a timely fashion. So this differs for everyone. Maybe people have a cutoff at a 50% graduation rate. For me personally, I want it as high as it can possibly be, and that was something I was definitely paying attention to. Tied into that, which is not exactly the outlook after college, you might also want to look at the retention rate, how many freshmen are staying after the first year. Again, you want a really high number for this as well. That means people are staying at the school and not transferring out, and this is a really important key factor to see how people like the school and that people are actually engaged in the school and want to stay there. As far as numbers go for outlook after college, you want to look at the average salary for graduates, the percentage of those employed or in grad school after they graduated, those that are in actual jobs and careers that are related to the major or program that they were a part of while at school. This is all very important because you want to know that you are spending this time and putting all this huge monetary investment into school, and that you will actually be able to pay it back and get out of it what you want to get out of it. So this also might mean you looking at a specific job and seeing how many people actually end up being elementary teachers or lawyers or doctors or dentists or art teachers or artists, anything like that. You just want to see what kind of jobs people are getting out of school and how quickly they're getting these jobs. You might also want to pay attention to the alumni network and how engaged alumni are, how they want to help students out, what the career center looks like, how engaged the whole community is in general, because alumni can be very helpful for getting jobs right out of college because they are willing to vouch for you and the school that you both attended. My fourth tip for this first section is money and aid. This was one of my largest priorities when I was applying to schools and then when I was choosing schools. So just look at the aid that you got from schools. You might be able to throw some schools out and cross them off immediately based on aid and say, there's no way I can afford this school, especially when I have these other schools that are much more affordable, if college can even be affordable at this point. And then you also want to pay attention. So 2 schools may cost the exact same amount, but what is the aid that you got? What are the conditions for these scholarships and aid? And then just look at that and just pay attention to it. If money is not an issue for you, congratulations, but for many people it is an issue, so this is something to pay attention to. You want to make sure that you can afford this school to the best of your ability and not bite off more than you can chew. And also, just keep in mind who's paying for this school. Is it you? Is it your parents? Is it your grandparents? Whoever it is, if someone's helping you pay for school, just know that they probably will have some say into where you go and that you want them to be supportive of your decision. So now hopefully you've crossed some schools off, schools that maybe you didn't really care about applying to begin with, but now that they're gone and they are out of your mind, you can focus on a more tough decision. Maybe you're down to 2 to 4 schools and you have no idea what to do now, and that is where this second part comes into. This second part is the part that I excel at, which is making lists. I would recommend making lots and lots of pro and con lists. This means making pro and con lists individually for each school, maybe dividing it by category and putting the schools into each category. People's brains work differently and they like different organization systems, so find a system that works for you. But don't just limit it to the academics, the professors, the party scene, and more broad categories. Also add in your thoughts and feelings. If you were able to visit the campus, write down what you felt when you were there. If you've been able to talk and speak with students or professors or faculty, write down what you thought when you were talking to them and how you felt about that. Be honest. Really think about, is this a place for me? Don't be stressed out about, is my friend gonna judge me for going to this school, or does my sister hate this school? Because it really matters if you like the school, if you think you can fit in there, if you think you can excel and succeed in this school. That is so important. Visit forums. There is collegeconfidential.com where there are so many different questions that are answered. You can go on Quora and read questions on there as well. You can post your own questions. Call up the admissions office, ask to speak with a student who maybe has a similar interest to yours. Talk to other people that you know have gone to this school. Maybe call up some old high school friends that are already at that school. Email people. Just if you are really struggling to make a decision and you want to make the right decision, talk to as many people as you can, read as many things online as you can, go on YouTube, watch dorm tours, watch day in the lives, watch videos that are both on the official college YouTube page as well as unofficial videos with actual real life students who are not being paid by admissions to make these videos. Get as full of a picture as you can. Try to imagine yourself there. Look at the different course offerings in past years and specific programs. Just really dive deep and do intense research. And while you're doing this intense research, take notes. If you think you see a red flag like, oh, this school doesn't offer study abroad and I really want to study abroad, write that down immediately because you might forget it, because when you're doing all of this research, it might start to blend together and things like that. So pay attention to that, write that down, make a note of it. If you are seeing red flag after red flag after red flag, then don't go to that school. It's not the school for you. And my final tip of this second part is to trust your gut. You know what's best for you. Even if you are unsure because of all the pressure from your guidance counselor, your friends, your sisters, your brothers, your mom, your dad, anybody like that, trust yourself, trust your gut. You know you. And talk to people that you trust that you think know you as well, and just take in everyone's opinion and just treat it as opinion. It's not fact. As I said before, if someone's helping you pay, obviously they probably should be supportive of your decision and you should be respectful of their aid that they are giving you. And just take your time, take a deep breath, look at all the schools, do all the research. You don't need to decide immediately. You do need to decide by the deadline, but that's not for a little while yet. So take a deep breath and just do the best that you can and think deeply about it and make sure that you feel comfortable with the decision. Sometimes it's helpful to imagine that you actually made the decision and just sit with it and think about how you would feel making the decision for one school versus another school. This is a really, really tough decision to make, and I know this can be a really stressful point of this year, but congratulations, because you were accepted to colleges and you will make the decision hopefully by the end. And so I wish you all the best of luck. Any questions about college or choosing a college or anything really at all, please feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I will see you all next week. Can you guys be quiet? Can you be quiet?